Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Potentially people who will be watching this in the future or right now. I have no live metrics. I'm assuming thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are listening right now. And did you start? Was the message I just received on my phone from John Minus. Yes, you asshole. How come that's not auto? How come, yeah, Messenger, you're so smart. Why don't you know how I speak to John, which is loudly and aggressively? So, yes, those of you who are watching this will know, probably, maybe, that normally we do our comedy show live from Just Jake's on the first Thursday of every month. You should come, but not today because the weather, it is slightly snowy outside. Depending on where you are, you're rolling your eyes because you got too little or because you got too much and slightly doesn't cover it. In either case, go F yourself. I'm not making a custom video for each and every one of you and your own weather patterns. And even suggesting that is insane. So what's your problem? I'm Frank Kablawi. I'm the executive producer of Non-Productive.com. And now I would be introducing my best bud, John Minus, into this chat, or in this is live feed. But he just woke up and has a headache and looks ugly. What else did he say about himself? Oh, he didn't say he looked ugly. I just added that. Sorry, John. Do you need this on video? I have a bad headache and I don't feel great. We don't care, John. Get your ass in gear and get into this video. If not, I do have a follow-up plan. I didn't actually expect John to wake up soon enough to actually join us on this consolation prize for our patrons. But if he does join us, that'll be great. And if he doesn't, that's probably just as good. I mean, honestly, come on. We're going to hear John's 3 jokes again. So, give it a few more minutes. Seconds, probably. And then, oh, I have 3 viewers. Good. I might be one of those viewers. I'm not sure how I did this. But yes, I hope you're warm. I hope you are not like watching this in some internet cafe or whatever, forcing people to open up a Starbucks for you to sit here and watch this. That would be weird. Yes, I hope you're warm. I hope you're enjoying this. We will be back next month in February for our live comedy show. And I'm going to try to pull up the calendar to determine when. Hey, that's February 1st. That's the day before Groundhog's Day. We should probably use that in our planning for the theme of the comedy show. I'm not going to plan it. All right, I'm giving John a few more seconds. And as he will disappoint me, as he has disappointed every woman in his life, I'm going to begin without him. So most of you are here for the stand-up comedy special. And you want to hear jokes. And I have the greatest series of jokes ever. When I was a child, I believe in middle school, I decided I was going to use my hard-earned money to buy into a book of the month club or something. It was one of those things where you get, it's like the CD clubs. You may or may not remember if you're a 90s kid or an 80s kid or whatever. But yeah, you'd pay like for 6 pennies. Send me the link again. John asked me to send him the link again in a Facebook Messenger chat. He can scroll up. I will scroll up and just leave that there. That is the laziest thing I have ever heard of. My God. In fact, I'm going to write scroll up. John Minus. So, yeah. Can't believe it. I decided to spend my hard-earned money as a child in one of those 6 books for a penny thing, but then you sign a contract and they get you on the line. That's how they get you. And I believe this book came as part of that originally. It is essential. It forged the hilarious comedy that you all know and love from me. And I'm actually going to call John on the regular phone now because this is pointless. And that book that I will be reading for you today, especially if you comment in the chat room. John, are you with me?
Yeah.
All right, good. I don't know if you could be picked up right now. You're too dumb to work a computer, so I'm going to put you on with audio chat. You, how are you feeling, by the way?
Not great.
Good. So I'm going to read to the audience from a book that was very formative to me in my young age. Formed my concept of comedy, and that would be Louis A. Safian's 2,000 More Insults. Louis A. Safian is, of course, the author of 2,000 Insults for All Occasions. And this is his riveting sequel, 2,000 More Insults.
I don't feel this was worth me.
I think you need to fire up Google Hangouts and get into this video chat because the situation's going to be lit. Kevin, if you can hear me in the chat, give me a page number and I will begin with that series of... These are just amazing insults. So you may be wondering, John, why insults? This doesn't sound funny. Well, insult comedy is a thing, right, John?
It is to some people. I prefer to be nice.
That's quaint. Kevin has given us page 69 because he's a card. So we're going to do that. Ready, John? You ready for this insult? 2,000 insults, John. You ready?
I'm very thin-skinned.
Yeah, these are going to be aimed at you. Ha! Interesting. This section is all about failures, like today's comedy show. Right? So this is the failure section. See, the book, let me explain. The book is divided up into various sections. So there are jokes about bamboozlers, birth dates, boozers.
First of all, I like that you think that you have to explain this in such great detail.
Chatterboxes, cranks.
It's insults. We get it.
Cream puffs, do-nothings. What? Do-nothings, dressed and undressed. I don't even know what that is. Dumbbells, entertainers, egoists, failures, and that's where we're at right now. There's also goat-getters. John, goat-getters.
Yeah,
John. All right.
I don't.
There's gossips, husbands. I bet you anything, wives will show up in the W's. All right. Muddleheads and meanies. All right, let's do failures. Here's one. Here's one for you, John. John, he's one guy who has ulcers without being a success. You can refer to think of a guy who's a failure, right? And you're like, he's one guy who has ulcers without being a success.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
It's pretty bad. The only thing that's keeping his ear to the ground has... Well, no, I'm sorry. I misread that one.
Failure.
Yeah. The only thing that keeping his ear to the ground has ever done for him is to limit his vision.
It's a little contrived.
That's a fortune cookie. That's not all right. Let's give another one. This one has italics in it, so I'm supposed to stress at the right point. He's really in debt. He has more attachments on him than a vacuum cleaner.
I feel like you've used that one.
No. I think this is a earlier age of vacuum cleaners, at least. Attachments? Wow. All right. He often tells his boss how to run his business. Then his boss leaves in his chauffeured Cadillac and he takes the subway home.
Chauffeured Cadillac.
Wow. The thing
How
is,
many cities have subways?
This book actually cost money. And it was printed. This was originally 1967, the original printing, which makes, I guess, a lot of sense. It was probably reprinted at some point in the late 80s, early 90s, because I got it. And it retailed for $5.95. This guy, Louis A. Safian, sold jokes. John, how many jokes have you sold as a professional stand-up comic?
People have paid me to keep them.
Failures. He's always suggesting campaigns for the future. A few more ideas like those, and he won't have any future. Let's move on to another topic, shall we?
That sounded more like a threat.
It did sound a little bit like a threat, yes. I could probably just put you on another mic in this multi-mic studio that I'm on the phone with you. All right, let's read something about juvenile delinquents, shall we? Let's. The only sure cure for kids like him is birth control. That's actually not bad. They're growing on me. They're growing on me.
Right. Have you had any human contact today?
No. He's so tough, he's been turned down by every reform school in the country. Reform schools aren't supposed to turn you down. They're supposed to reform you. He's so tough, he makes his teacher stay after school. Welcome back to this, Carter. The teacher asked him, who shot Lincoln? And he snarled, I don't squeal on nobody.
Well, yeah, no, stop snitching.
Snitches get stitches. He says he's a... Oh, God, this has several sentences involved. This insult. How would you just arm yourself with these and go to a party? He says he's a delinquent because he was repressed as a child. His parents punished him when he saw the cat in half and gave his grandmother the hot foot. What? Hold on. Wait a minute. He says he's a delinquent because he was repressed as a child. His parents punished him when he saw the cat in half and he gave his grandmother the hot foot.
That's just dark. Is
the joke here that he says he was repressed and he was actually punished for torturing an animal and then an older person?
Elder abuse, yeah.
That's not. This isn't fun.
That's a joke.
No. All right, let's. I have the book here in case we need to dip back into it. John, what have you been doing lately? What are you doing this snow day?
Trying to sleep and listening to my body decay.
This is John literally every day. Every day that he's not doing the comedy show, he's doing this to me.
Anytime I'm not in your immediate field of vision, I'm just sitting in the dark.
You know how a sociopathic child would, and all children are sociopaths, really. You know how they kind of believe the world doesn't exist when they're not there? It's like everything is for them. For John, that's true. When he's not immediately around. Darren Patterson just got here and has no idea what's going on. Let's explain it to Darren Patterson. We're psychoanalyzing John on the phone. He cannot figure out the link to this video that I have helpfully given him. I'm gonna try.
I was trying to tell you, does this work on a phone?
It should, yeah. If you have Google Hangouts on your phone, it should work. We're doing tech support right now.
Whenever I click it, it doesn't go to. It just goes to like the Google Play link. It doesn't like open anything.
Maybe you don't have Hangouts installed, or maybe it's not updated.
I do.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Did you turn it on and turn it off again?
My phone?
No, you don't have to do that. But try that link again. I'll send it to you on Messenger. So assist to myself. Okay, so yeah, you Darren, you missed us reading 2,000 more and subscribe for more. 2,000 more insults compiled by Louis A. Safian. Darren, do you have a page number you'd like to read from? And I will read an insult to or at you. It's up to you. That's entirely up to you. So, John, you are just sitting around your house all day or your apartment all day, slowly rotting.
Well, not slowly.
Okay. Seen any good television?
This conversation is accelerating it.
Good. Have you seen any good television lately?
I just started watching this Netflix anime called Sinbad.
Wait.
It's
Okay, go on.
It's about Sinbad.
The sailor or the comedian? Please say please say both.
Both. It's a crossover.
No, what is it? Which one is it? I legitimately
the sailor. There's no anime about Sinbad the comedian.
You don't know that.
Deserve that.
Wow. Sinbad the comedian. It was very funny.
We don't deserve that.
Oh, the royal. All right. Okay. Yes. The humanity does not. We are not good enough. We can't. Yeah, I agree 100%. We don't. He's too good for this world. All right. So what's the anime about? Some sort of sailor. I've lost interest.
Well, I've 4 episodes in, and he's only 14 years old, but he's got long purple hair, and his dad had purple hair, and he lives in a fictional country that is bent on war with another fictional country, but it's a stalemate, and people just die. So he decides that he's going to get some magical powers to become king, so he can save the country from war.
Huh. It seems tedious. Is it good?
There's a lot going on. I don't know. I'm not too invested right now, but maybe it's just because I've watched a lot of high epic fantasy shows in the last few shows, so it's a lot.
And you are still single, right?
Huh?
You're still single?
Is there a level below single? Like, I'm just lonely.
You what is it? What is the term? There's probably a word for it in this book. It's a confirmed bachelor. That's what you are. Yeah. I think that also might mean you're like 30s gay, but yeah, you could work it. All right. Darren Patterson wants me to read from page 69 because apparently the chat does not go historically, or else he's just being funny. So instead, I'm going to read from page 96. We already did 69. This is Goat Getters. These are 2,000 more insults aimed at goat getters. If he ever needs a friend, he'll have to get a dog.
So basically, the idea is that he has no.
Yeah, he
needs somebody with no standards.
The only way he'll ever avoid having enemies is to outlive them. That's a fortune cookie. I'm certain I got that in a fortune cookie.
You need new fortune cookies.
He's one person who'd make a perfect stranger. Louis A. Safian. Yes, we have a comment in the chat. Have you seen Bright?
No.
You haven't seen Bright. Have you any interest in seeing it?
No.
Why? Are you anti Will Smith because he's better than you at everything?
No, I like Will Smith.
Okay. Are you anti Orc?
Yeah.
So once on your podcast, you brought up the oft argued orcs are the Lord of the Rings isn't for black people because there are no people of color in Lord of the Rings, and then you went on to make comments about orcs being effectively black people on that show. Do you remember any of this?
I had a show?
You had a podcast on our network. Ultra Negro.
Huh.
Wow.
Interesting.
I literally would be getting more feedback and back and forth if I had just continued reading 2,000 More Insults by Louis A. Safian.
Why do you keep saying his whole name like he's a pimp named Slipback?
Have you seen Punisher? Oh, no, you don't watch the Marvel shows. I am actually in them.
I got halfway through Punisher.
Really?
And but I'm like afraid because there's a subplot that there's a subplot about one of the guys in his support group that scares me because I feel like it's going to turn out really badly. So I haven't watched because I don't want to find out.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's probably the farthest I've gotten in one of them since the first season of Daredevil.
Well, I'm also having issues with it as well. It's that was a waving pile of crap. That's supposed to be John Minus. Someone told me off camera. So yes.
Not that I don't like it. It's good. It just
I'm not sure about it, to be perfectly honest. It starts off with your classic, like, I'm a Muslim, but don't worry, I drink and I don't really believe in my faith, and she literally says that as her character motivation in like this first episode or the second episode. I'm like, okay. And then there's like the second or third episode is just killing a bunch of Afghani soldiers, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, where's Mordok? Like, I know it's Punisher, and he's not necessarily the guy who goes after the most ridiculous characters, but like, what about magic? What about superheroes and villains? Like, I don't need to see James Bauer. It's not James Bauer. Jack Bauer.
Jim J. Bullock.
I don't need to see Jim J. Bullock out there terrorizing the terrorists. You know, like Jim J. Bullock, knock it off. Jim J. Bullock was the star of 24, right?
Yes, Jim J. Bullock.
Jim J. Bullock was the star of 24. Edit Wikipedia right now. That's it. If you were real fans, you'd be editing Wikipedia right now. If you were real Jim J. Bullock fans, you'd be editing Wikipedia right now. Okay. Yeah, I did not enjoy Iron Fist at all. You didn't see any of Iron Fist, did you?
No.
It wasn't terrible, but like, he was the whiniest of whiny heroes. There was a lot of controversy over the casting of the guy from Iron Fist, mostly because he's white and it's like the white savior kind of martial arts thing. I'm okay with it because, you know, white people are great.
No.
All right.
No, they are.
But no, like, I'm okay with it because they could have addressed it in universe. They could have, you know, the fact that he wasn't the best Iron Fist wasn't a problem, but he was just so unlikable as a character. Like, to put a controversial casting and then make them immediately unlikable, I think that was a big mistake. So not a big fan. No, not a big fan of that at all. But I think you would enjoy Bright. It answers a couple of questions that you no longer remember that you had, or a couple of points you made. So it's a little heavy-handed in that it's like somebody was playing Dungeons and Dragons or watching Lord of the Rings probably, and then thought, hey, I've never heard of Shadowpunk, so let me make a Netflix original movie. I think it's interesting. I think you'll enjoy it.
That's all it takes.
It's all it takes is you don't hear about Shadowpunk. But we've also seen Last Jedi together, and no, we both saw them, and we decided that have you decided that you're not allowed to talk about this with other people?
I've been thinking about the whole, on a bigger scale, about liking things and discussing things that you like, and how it's got, like you said, how it's gotten almost impossible to do so because everything is personal. Like, it used to be like you'd have somebody say they don't like something, and you'd be like, well,
that would be it, right? That would be it. Hold on, I'm gonna try to do something crazy with the phone. Give me a minute. Yes. All right. Say something.
I meant, are you on the toilet?
All right, good. I just want to set up your mic better. No, I'm not literally on the toilet. I'm just pooping in this regular office chair. Go on. You were saying something almost poignant.
I was saying that it's now at a point where we can't, where we talk to somebody and they express their opinion, it all becomes a personal judgment on who they are as a human being, and not just on what they like and don't like. Like, when I think of people who don't like The Last Jedi, I assume it's because they're racist and sexist.
Right.
And not because they just didn't like the movie. But then I think about it because And I've been thinking about why the nature of why you can or can't like something. And Star Wars is a good example, but Dave Chappelle's a good example too. Like if you like something and then something about it changes, does that mean you can't like anything else associated with it? Like and long statement short, like am I still allowed to like Louis C.K.'s jokes?
All right.
Or because of the things that happened recently, is it not allowed to find him funny anymore?
Yeah, I think you need to be able to divide the artist from the work to truly enjoy something. I think you could even divide, like you could even look at it through time periods. Like you could see something like this is good for the time period it was made in. This was if it's, let's say, H.P. Lovecraft, right? We might as well. This is interesting. Very interesting. We decided to immediately go topical after being boring for 12 minutes, or maybe it's more. But so H.P. Lovecraft, horror writer, he writes in weird fiction and stuff, and writes some incredibly racist stuff for the time period. Even like it was just not like, he's very much a guy who was weirded out and creeped out by pretty much anything unusual and different than him. I think you can read this without having to like co-sign his racist viewpoints, or read this and say this is what people at the time may have thought, or some people at the time may have thought. I don't think you have to it's love the person, love all their work, love everything about them. It's either they're in it or out. I think you can like the work independently of other factors.
Yeah, it's like it's all babies in bathwater now.
I get what you meant by that.
Like some people, it's like they don't like Dave Chappelle's some of his jokes, and now they don't like him at all. And it's like, when did it become like if you don't like somebody's a joke amongst all their jokes, like instead of just being a bad joke, now it's an indictment on who they are. And it's like some people, especially with movies, when I see, it with nerd movies, when people complain so much about like things that aren't like the thing they liked. Like I would love to see the Star Wars movie that all these people who hate The Last Jedi wanted. Like I often wonder what was the movie they wanted to see, because that movie must be fantastic.
One thing an alarm clock never arouses is his better nature. Louis
That's
A.
very
Simpson.
circuitous.
Yeah, it's very terrible. In defense of the people, we asked for, somebody said no spoilers. I'm not sure what they're referring to. It could be Last Jedi, and I guess there won't be any. But like, I could get it. I totally, I could see someone saying this isn't good for me. I didn't enjoy this. What happens, I think, on the internet in a weird way is that there definitely is like a gauntlet thrown, where if you didn't like it, someone has a problem with you not liking it. Or if you did like it, someone has a problem with you liking it, instead of just apathy. Instead of being like, all right, well, whatever. You didn't like it, I liked it. Okay. Or vice versa. I don't know what the hell that is. It might be I don't know. It might be nudists or lowbrows. Want to hear an insult about lowbrows? Husbands? Hypochondriacs. All right, here, John.
Well, where's the wives part? I want to hear something about wives.
His wife says it's a damn shame the way he nurses a champagne. Hypochondriacs. Oh, my Lord. Playboys? You want wives, huh?
But Playboys is good.
They've been married 15 years, and he loves her still.
And?
That is the thing. That is the insult. How many years have you been milking us, Louis A. Safian? How many years? This was originally published in 1967. How many stupid kids spent money for 2,000 more insults to get?
I feel like you're shedding light on something that should never have come to the light.
All right, here's another wife one.
I think maybe this is dangerous.
I hope we get letters from Louis A. Safian. Or his estate, because all right. He's just phoned the doctor. That's not even English. He's just phoned the doctor. My wife has dislocated her jaw. If you happen to pass by in a week or so, you might drop in. No hurry.
That was definitely a domestic violence situation.
That was a domestic violence situation.
There was no doubt in my mind that
he broke his wife's jaw.
He did not beat up his wife.
He beat his wife. He beat her. And you just all laughed at it. Because of Louis A. Safian.
I'm not sure anybody laughed.
Nobody laughed. Yeah, so I don't know. I get it. I totally understand that everybody's cup of tea is a little different. I just don't know why we're being such geeks about it lately. Hey, here's some good news. Let's do a round table of news, John. This is something that even you will find good news. Oh, no, that's about Islamabad, Pakistan. I'm not going to read that one. Okay. Animaniacs has been revived at Hulu with a 2-season order. Animaniacs is on Hulu. New season, new episodes.
It's not going to be good.
All right, we're back to the book.
It's never good.
You know what you are, John?
Huh?
He's well known as a miracle worker. It's a miracle when he works.
Okay.
You know the worst part about this is, John? I think conceptually this was a good idea, but it was executed so poorly that we're never going to be able to do this again. If you like this,
the book?
No, not 2,000 more insults. This live stream that is in lieu of a comedy show.
Well, I think the problem. Wait, what? I think the problem is I'm not very feeling good.
Well, let's push on. How are you gonna do the live comedy show if you're feeling this bad?
A lot of drugs.
Well, go take those drugs, son. I did not mean to call you son. That was inappropriate. It was inappropriate. I didn't mean to call you a son. All right, John. Tell us all your favorite new joke on this. Waste it here. Waste your favorite new joke here, and then we'll let you sign off.
Wait, a new joke about what?
Anything. The newest joke
I wrote?
you're trying. Yes.
I don't write new jokes. We just steal them.
And that's why you'll never be a Louis A. Safian.
I hope this guy hangs out with Chuck Tingle.
All right, here's one for husbands. She keeps asking him to show her his birth certificate. She wants proof that he's alive.
Truthers.
Birthers? She often tells him, I do wish I'd known when you were alive. What? That's not even a thing. That's not a joke. No, screw you. She often tells him, quote, I do wish I'd known you when you were alive. That's not. Wow. 2000. All right, John, I know you're tired. I regret trying to call you. I could have just done this on my own, and I will. I hope you do well with your life. I can't wait for the next comedy show. It's going to be February 1st. You want to talk about it?
I think we should try and do one every week.
1 every week.
Huh?
Why?
Well, 1 to 2 every week. No, wait. That's foolhardy.
2 every week.
Forget
yes.
I said it.
Okay. What do you want to do, John? This is him. This is him. You guys see him for like 2 to 3 hours when he's lucid. That's it. The rest of the time, this is him. So when I'm angry at him during a monthly comedy show, it's like you're living with someone who's sunsetting.
What?
You're like living with an elderly person. You're like that. It's only a matter of time. Where is John now? Where is he? What world is his mind wandering into? That's me all the time dealing with it. Constantly.
You are exaggerating.
You are sitting in a wicker chair right this second with a tea and the radio is on and it's 40s music. That's what's happening right now in John's apartment. He has mismatched socks. I guarantee you. If you have a picture, send me a picture of your socks right now.
I'm not wearing socks. I'm not wearing much of anything.
Go on. Go on. Next month's comedy show, February 1st. If we don't get stormed out or blown volcano ice thing, it's going to be great. John, thank you. It's always been a pleasure. I'm going to talk to our audience now for a very little bit. I'm going to do a special reading for all of you. Thank you for putting up with us for this long. I really do feel bad that we had to cancel the show, but it wasn't worth it. People weren't going to drive in this weather. We are going to do an extra raffle for patrons next month because it'll be fun. And I guess what you might win. You might win 2,000 of them. Huh? And
$2,000?
No, what? I've read the title of the book 14 times in this travesty of justice.
Oh, the thing we've been doing.
Yeah, that. But right now, what I'm going to be reading for everyone is a single chapter for copyright reasons of the lovely, wonderful book, which you may have seen as I lifted it up earlier in the show. Fear Street by R.L. Stine. Fight, 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 or die, die, die. Cheerleaders, the Third Evil. I don't know if this is like a sequel, but it doesn't matter. I'm reading it. John, you could just hang up the phone whenever you want. So R.L. Stine's. Is this a Goosebumps? This may not be an official Goosebump. It may be something else. If anybody knows, you could chat it to us. I'll read the back cover now. I'm actually looking at the front cover. This is impossible to do. I'm showing you the back cover. This is the front cover. Look at that. It's back. Did the evil spirit really leave Kimmy's body? The cheerleaders of Shady Side High can still feel its dark presence. And Corky knows that it is out there somewhere close and getting closer. Corky is tormented night after night by dreams of her dead sister, Bobby. This got darker than I expected. What terrifying message is Bobby trying to tell her? When the evil begins again, more horrible, more gruesome than ever, Corky knows it's up to her to learn the century-old secrets and destroy the evil spirit's power for good. But so many have died already. Will Corky be next? We're doing this. There's another synopsis of this thing. The Shady Side cheerleaders thought the evil spirit was finally gone. They thought the horrible deaths had ended. They thought the hot water could no longer scald them. This is a domestic violence situation. The spirit that had controlled both Jennifer Daly and Kimmy Bass, this is definitely a sequel book, and had been battled by cheerleader Corky Corcoran. And Corky had won. But something's still not right at spring cheerleading camp. I think that should have been capitalized. Spring cheerleading camp. The strange occurrences and terrifying accidents can mean only one thing. The evil spirit never left. But where is it now? Well, it never left, so I would assume it's at the camp. The end. Fear Street. Oh, I think Fear Street is the name of the series. R.L. Stein's Fear Street. Cheerleaders, the Third Evil. An Archway paperback published by Pocket Books. Originally published in 1992. Part 1. Team Spirit. Chapter 1. In the Soup. Miss Green's whistle echoed off the high ceiling of the gym. The cheerleaders stopped in mid-cheer as their advisor raised both hands to her head and pretended to tear out her fizzy brown hair. Her eyes were wide with exasperation. Melodrama. Corky Corcoran sighed. That routine was going really well, she thought. Why did Miss Green stop us? She cast a glance down the line of cheerleaders to her friend Kimmy Bass. Kimmy mopped her forehead with her sleeve, with the sleeve of her t-shirt. She also appeared to be annoyed by the interruption. It was warm for early April. The air in the gym felt hot and damp. Corky had her blonde hair pulled straight back and tied in a high ponytail. She had the 5 other Shady Side High cheerleaders were dressed in lycra shorts and loose-fitting t-shirts. There's a whole sub-community for YouTube we just stumbled upon. Where were page was teared out. Okay, wait, they were in their lycra shorts, sorry. In lycra shorts and loose-fitting t-shirts, which were drenched in perspiration. Yep, we're definitely reading to that community. Which were drenched in perspiration from the after-school practice. Hannah, do me a favor, Miss Green said. Step forward and show my veteran cheerleaders the proper way to round off back tuck. To do a round off back tuck. Hannah Miles bounced forward obediently. Hannah Miles bounced forward obediently, a broad smile on her pretty face. I like to start in this position, she said, not at all embarrassed at being singled out. You know, with my knees bent a little so I get more spring. R.L. Stein. I know what you're up to. I don't. This is all in your eyes, in your minds, you filthy. A slender, graceful freshman, Hannah was the only new member of the Shady Side High squad after spring tryouts. She replaced Megan Carmen, who was graduating in June. I have not read any of the other books, but this is very Lord of the Rings Silmarillion, where like I'm going to find out everything about the litany of this cheerleading squad, and I'm here for it. Hannah had long, straight black hair that she wore in a single thick braid to her waist and dark brown eyes that were constantly flashing with excitement and strokes. How many pages is this first chapter? All right, we're good. She performed her back tuck, flipping high off the floor and landing perfectly on both feet. So she has 2 feet, in case you're wondering. Then, without a pause, she performed a second back tuck just as stylish as the first. How was that? She asked innocently, straightening her t-shirt. She thinks she's really great, Ronnie Mitchell whispered bitterly to Corky. She is great, Corky whispered back. My cheerleader voice is good? Say so in the chat. Hannah's making us all look like clumsy elephants, Corky thought with her outside voice. She watched Hannah flash Kimmy a smile as she rejoined the line of girls. Kimmy and Deborah Kern were co-captains of the squad, and Hannah had started playing up to them, asking for advice and fishing for compliments. We all know Hannah is good. Why does she have to show off all the time? Corky wondered. Oh, those were wonders. Then she had to admit to herself, I guess I'm a little jealous. None of these are in quotes. It feels like thoughts should be, but I guess not. At the beginning of the year, Corky and her sister Bobby had been in the stars, the flashiest, most enthusiastic, and talented cheerleaders on the squad. But so much had happened since then. So much horror. Bobby was dead. I forgot and did not mean to read that so flippantly. And so was Corky's boyfriend, Chip. Both of them murdered by an ancient evil spirit. An evil spirit that had inhabited 2 of the cheerleaders. First, Jennifer Daly. Poor Jennifer, also dead. Then... Poor Jennifer, also dead. Then Kimmy. Han, come in here. This is amazing. I'm not stopping at one chapter. Ah, God. All right. All right. Corky had rescued Kimmy from the evil. You're here for this? So I'm reading from R.L. Stein's Cheaters, the Third Evil, which is apparently a sequel, or else there's a lot of exposition in the beginning. It's really deep. These girls are doing a practice right now, and I'm going to recap. So there's a bunch of people who had died. Corky's sister, I think, Bobby, died, and Corky's boyfriend, Chip, died. Right? They were both killed by an ancient evil spirit. You're all caught up now, so come on in. Poor Jennifer, also dead. That's how they refer to it. Poor Jennifer, comma, also dead. Corky had rescued Kimmy from the evil. Afterward, Corky thought she could push away the terrifying memories by throwing herself into her cheerleading. Sisters. Yeah, by making herself go on with her life. But sometimes it was hard. Hard to forget. Hard to go on. And hard to just to be just one of the squad members. Sometimes it was hard. I'm not even co-captain, Corky thought, glancing unhappily at Deborah. I'm a better cheerleader than Deborah, she thought. Everybody knows it. But before spring tryouts, Miss Green had explained her decision to Corky. I forgot the voice I used for Miss Green. Corky, I'm afraid you just don't need the pressure of being co-captain, she said with genuine concern. Whoops. I mean, after all that has happened, so does the teacher know her sister, boyfriend, and another girl was killed by ancient evil? All that had happened. Corky shook her head, tossing her ponytail, trying to shake away her bitter thoughts. Nope, that's not a voice. Deborah's my friend, she told herself. There's no point in being jealous of her. Corky, did you hear one word I said? Miss Green's husky voice! Husky! I knew it! It was a husky voice! Fuck yeah, R.L. Stein. Yes, of course. Corky lied. Nope. Corky, did you hear one word I said? Miss Green's husky voice broke into Corky's thoughts. Apparently she's psychic. Yeah. Corky, did you hear one word I said? Miss Green's husky voice broke into Corky's thoughts. Yes, of course, Corky lied, feeling her cheeks grow hot as she changed her voice yet again. Then let's try the football chant again, Miss Green said, staring hard at Corky. Oh, man. Kimmy leapt forward, clapping her hand. Look at moron. Kimmy leapt forward, clapping her hands, and turned to the other 5 girls. Okay, ready? On 3. She counted to 3, and they began their chant, their voices rising with each repetition, stomping and clamping in the rhythm they had practiced. Then there's a poem or a chant. This is R.L. Stein is the J.R.R. Tolkien of Fear Street, because there's lots of poetry in the Lord of the Rings. If you didn't, that reference doesn't land. Tigers, let's score 6 points and more. Stomp, stomp. Tigers, let's score 6 points and more. Stomp, stomp. Louder, Kimmy urged, cupping one ear with her hand. Louder! I can't hear you. She's the John Cena of hearing. Tigers, let's score 6 points and more. Still can't hear you, Kimmy shouted as they repeated the chant even louder. Corky glanced down the line to Hannah, shouting enthusiastically, her hands in a high V. Oh, that makes sense. There's a capital letter V in italics. Hannah ended her chant and then spontaneously leapt into a tuck jump. I read that initially as into a truck. Hannah ended her chant and then spontaneously leapt into a tuck jump, rising high off the floor and slapping her knees at the peak of the jump. Who is this for? Listen, Darren, you're the only one still calling this erotic. So get your wife. Get your wife in the room. I have questions for her. Get her in the chat. I have serious questions. All right. What a show off, Corky thought. Hannah knows we don't do a tuck jump here. We don't do that here. Miss Green is going to get on her case now. Corky turned her eyes expectantly to Miss Green, but instead of seeing anger on the coach's face, Corky was surprised to see approval, even a smile. On that bitch? I like that, Hannah, Miss Green declared. That's a very clever finish. She turned to Kimmy. What do you say? Let's try it again, and everybody do a tuck jump at the end. I don't believe this shit. Ronnie muttered to Corky. She didn't say shit. I don't believe it. Ronnie muttered to Corky, shaking her head. I believe it, Corky replied dryly. Hannah the wonder cheerleader, Ronnie said under her breath. I said that louder than I expected. Corky laughed and looked down the row of girls. Heather Deal was leaning close to Deborah, whispering something in her ear. Kimmy flashed Corky a meaningful glance, then stepped forward, changing her expression of disapproval to a smile. She began the chant again. All right, for people who are into it, Kimmy flashed Corky a meaningful glance, and then stepped forward, changing her expression from disapproval to a smile. She began the chant again. Tigers, let's score! 6 points and more. The girls repeated the chant, getting louder each time. Oh my God. If you read this chant backwards, it's a Call of Cthulhu reference. It isn't. I'm just desperate. The girls repeated the chant, getting louder each time. Then they all ended with tuck jumps. Do you think like cheerleaders used to, like cheerleaders into middle school horror would read this and be like, oh, he's totally talking to my peeps. These are things I know. Tuck jumps. I don't know what a tuck jump is. Some amazing Black Widow stuff. Corky watched Hannah. All right, we're almost there. Corky watched Hannah out of the corner of her eye. Her tuck jump was the highest of all. Her dark eyes sparkled and her face radiated enthusiasm as she landed gracefully. Clapping her hands, that was great, she exclaimed. Can we do it again? I forgot what voice I don't even know who's talking. What's her problem anyway? Kimmy asked, twirling her water glass between her hands. He's like a snifter of brandy. Her problem is she's terrific, Corky replied, squeezing against the wall as Deborah slid beside her in the red vinyl booth. And we're jealous. I'm not jealous of her, Ronnie said quickly. A thoughtful look creased her face. Well, maybe just her hair. Ronnie had tight cropped colored curls, a tiny stub of a nose, and a face full of freckles. She was in 9th grade and looked about 12. Hannah has awesome hair. She's stuck up, Kimmy offered. She's so stuck up, she probably knows we're talking about her right now. How does that follow, Kimmy? The 4 girls laughed. Such a good joke. Worthy of being featured in Louis A. Safian's 2,000 word insults. 2,000 more insults. She said, the 4 girls laughed. Practice had ended at 4:30, and they had driven to the corner. If this is a mystery where you need to know all these things, I'm screwed. They've driven to the corner, a new coffee shop a few blocks from school that had quickly become a hangout for Shadyside students. Hannah isn't so bad, Deborah remarked, her eyes lowered to the menu. She's just enthusiastic. The other 3 stared at Deborah in surprise. Since when are you her best friend? Kimmy asked sarcastically, foaming at the mouth. Deborah raised her icy blue eyes from the menu, toying with a knife. That's not true. I'm not. I just said she isn't so bad. She isn't mean or anything. Deborah had straight blonde hair, cut very short. She was thin, almost too thin, and seldom smiled. An unlikely combination for a cheerleader. So we have 1 vote for Hannah, Kimmy said, making 1 in the air with her index finger. Anyone else? Before Corky or Ronnie could cast a vote, the waitress interrupted to take their orders because they were taking too long. Kimmy and Ronnie ordered hamburgers and Cokes. Deborah ordered a plate of french fries and chocolate shake. No matter what she ate, she never put on weight. First of all, that's really disturbing. We don't need to facilitate that, R.L. Stein. Second of all, Lord of the Rings. Once again, we're getting detailed descriptions of their food. This is the Lord of the Rings of whatever kind of genre I'm reading. When Corky ordered a bowl of split pea soup, the others erupted in disapproval. Yuck! Ronnie exclaimed, sticking a finger down her throat. I may hurl! I happen to like pea soup, Corky insisted. That's probably my fifth voice, this character. You're weird, Kimmy told her. You're definitely weird. Is Hannah going out with anyone? Corky asked, deliberately changing the subject. Huh? You ever see the guys hanging around her locker after school every day? Ronnie asked. It's disgusting. Their tongues hanging out of their mouths. They practically drool on her. I don't know if I could read any more of this. Tis this. Deborah clicked her tongue. Like Rosie Perez. Sounds like me, you're jealous, Ronnie. I tried to do a Rosie Perez. I couldn't. Ronnie stuck her tongue out at Deborah. So, I think she's going out with Gray Gray Bandit is how I read that name. It's Gary Brandt. I think she's going out with Gray Bandit. Kimmy offered. At least I saw them together at the mall Saturday night. Gary's kind of cool, Ronnie said, fiddling with her silverware. Kinda, Deborah agreed with unusual enthusiasm. I should have read that with enthusiasm. Hey, can you picture Hannah making out with Gary? Ronnie asked, grinning. She performed a cheer. Go, Gary, go. Go, Gary, go, yay. This is erotica. Shit. I don't want to know what happens at the end of this book. The cover is also very loosely attached, which suggests to me that I may not even be really reading this book. This could be just an elaborate. There's movement in the studio. All right. Everyone laughed at the sexual harassment. Know what? Kimmy added. Every time he kisses her, she probably does a tuck jump. Oh, more laughter. Hey, are you guys ready for next week? Corky asked, changing the subject again. I'm already packed, Ronnie said. I can't wait. This will be the best spring break ever. A whole week away from home, Corky said, sighing. Oh, a whole week away from my pesky little brother. Maybe we'll meet some guys, Ronnie said, grinning. You know, college dudes. Nope. One of them was 12. We established this, right? You guys are in for a shock, Deborah said dryly. There'll be no time to hang out or meet guys. Cheerleading camp is torture. You work your buns off, exercising in the morning, practicing new cheers all afternoon, going to workshops after workshop. Then at night, you kill yourself competing against other squads. All right. Bobby and I went to cheerleader camp one summer in Missouri before we moved here, Corky recalled. We worked hard, but we also did some partying. The Madison College camp is supposed to be pretty, Ronnie said. My cousin told me the dorm he were staying at is brand new. Maybe we'll all room together, Ronnie exclaimed. It's going to be awesome. Where is the tension? Everyone agreed except for Deborah. Oh, there it is. It's hard work and a lot of pressure, she warned. You have to be enthusiastic and have a smile plastered on your face all day long. Like being married to the president. When Ronnie and Deborah got up to go to the restroom, Kimmy slid in bed. That's me. That's all on me. When Ronnie and Deborah got up to go to the restroom, Kimmy slid in beside Corky, a troubled expression on her face. How are you doing? She asked quietly. Okay, I guess, Corky shrugged. No, I mean, really. Kimmy insisted, her dark eyes staring into Corky's as if searching for something. I'm doing a little better, Corky replied, fiddling with her silverware. I don't think about things as much. I force myself not to think about Bobby or Chip or... I can't stop thinking about it, Kimmy said emotionally, clasping her hand tightly together on the Formica tabletop. Formica is capitalized appropriately in this. So great. I keep thinking, what if the evil spirit is still around? What if it's still inside me? Was she possessed by the evil spirit? Who knows? People who read the books. Her voice cracked as she said this. She swallowed hard. Kimmy, Corky started, resting a hand on Kimmy's arm. I saw the evil spirit pour out of you. Pour out. I thought it was like a 40. I saw it go down my bathtub drain. What? These other books are amazing. Corky started, resting a hand on Kimmy's arm. I saw the evil spirit pour out of you. I saw it go down my bathtub drain. It's gone. Down the drain. You're okay now. You don't have to worry. But how do we know it's gone for good? Corky, you got that note? The one that said it can't be drowned? Did you try to drown a ghost in the bathtub? These kids kill a person? Yeah, probably. And Corky, sometimes I feel so strange, Kimmy whispered, her eyes watering. She gripped Corky's arm and held it tightly. Sometimes I just don't feel right. The door to the coffee shop opened, and some guys from the basketball team walked in. One of them, John Mirren, a lanky boy with short brown hair and a goofy grin. There's more characters being introduced. Waved to Kimmy before sliding into the booth with his pals. Kimmy, we just have to pray that the evil spirit has gone for good because we're Christian scientists, Corky said. But what if it isn't? That part wasn't in there. Kimmy demanded again. Corky shrugged and felt a sudden chill. It's got to be gone, she said, lowering her voice to a whisper. I can't take any more death. I can't. Her voice trailed off. Deborah and Ronnie returned, giggling and pushing each other playfully as if in a shitty movie. They stopped when they saw the grim expressions on Corky and Kimmy's faces. Hey, what's going on, Debbie demanded. You two still talk about Hannah Miles? Why? Give the poor kid a break. Agreed. She slid in across from Corky and Kimmy. Stop sliding into booths. Just sit. Ronnie lowered herself into the booth. Thank you. Beside Deborah. Corky forced a smile. No, we weren't talking about Hannah. Do you know what other schools are going to be at the cheerleading camp? This is incredibly boring. Kimmy shook her head, tossed her crippled black hair. I think there's going to be a squad from Waynesbridge and maybe the cheerleaders from Belvedere. The ones that do all that rap stuff, it just got more interesting. The cheerleaders from Belvedere, the ones that do all that rap stuff? Ronnie asked. Wow, they're excellent, Corky exclaimed. Who else? I don't know, Kimmy replied. About 100 cheerleaders total, I think. The waitress appeared magically, carrying their orders on a metal tray. Who gets the pea soup? She asked, staring at each girl. Making disgusting faces, all three of her companions pointed to Corky. Give me a break, Corky muttered. I have a craving for pea soup. What's the big deal? When she throws it up later on, it's going to be a callback to The Exorcist. The waitress set the food down and left, as is customary. John Marin waved at you, Deborah said to Kimmy, squeezing the ketchup dispenser over her french fries. I saw him as I was leaving the ladies' room. Were you paid by the word? So, Kimmy asked defensively. So maybe he likes you, Deborah said. Maybe you're going to go mess him up. She put down the ketchup and reached for the salt. Kimmy shrugged. He's a funny guy, Ronnie said, around the mouth full of hamburger. Got it. Ronnie said around a mouthful of hamburger. He's a riot in science lab. That's John's thing, too. Were you there last week when he spilled the hydrochloric acid? That sounds hilarious, Deborah said sarcastically. You had to be there, Ronnie replied. The tomato slid out of her hamburger. She struggled to put it back in. Suddenly, Corky uttered a loud gasp. The others looked up from their food. Corky, what's wrong? Kimmy cried. Corky's eyes were wide with surprise. Look, she pointed down at her soup ball. The other three turned their eyes to the bowl. The thick green soup appeared to be bubbling. Why is it doing that? Ronnie asked, leaning forward to get a better look. Oh, she cried out and pulled her head back as a gob of soup spurted up from the bowl. Hey, Corky cried in alarm. The thick soup was tossing in the bowl, rising up against the edges like green ocean waves, bubbling higher and higher. Gross! Yuck, it's alive. What's going on? Like a green volcano. The soup rose up and spurted high in a thick bubbling wave. Hot and steamy, more and more of it made a green tidal wave that began to ooze over the table. Hey, help! Get up, Kimmy, let's go! The four girls scrambled from the booth as the steaming green liquid rose like a fountain to plop onto the table and then ooze quickly onto the floor. What's that? What's happening? Where are they going? Voices rang out through the small restaurant. Confused kids gaped at Corky and her friends lurched as her friends lurched down the narrow aisle. pushing open the front door and fled to the sidewalk. The evil, Corky managed to say, breathing hard, her heart thudding in her chest. It's back, she thought. The evil spirit is back. Their anguished faces revealed that all 4 girls realized it. The ancient evil spirit was back. It had been right at their table. Was it inhabiting one of them? Possessing one of them? Corky stared from face to face. Which one, she wondered. Which one? And that was chapter 1 of R.L. Stine's Fear Street novel, Cheerleaders, the Third Evil. I should have risked my life to come to the comedy show. Hey, let's do a raffle. All right, whoever in the chat is the first person to mention the name of any of the victims from R.L. Stine's The Third Evil will get something the next time I see them in a comedy show. That's right. Any of the victims, any of the people that died in this book that I've been reading for the last 5, 10, 20 minutes, half hour. Any character at all. You mention a character's name and you may get a prize. The correct answer is this was a mistake because now I have to wait for someone to reply when that's probably not going to end up happening. You might as well just stop the video feed now. I should have risked my life. I mean, come on. It would have been pretty cool. Victim of the snow apocalypse. Yeah. See you on February 1st. That's gonna be lit. I can say that. John's not here. It's gonna be lit.